Oh, hey, welcome to Vinyl Vision. For those of you who are following me on my Facebook page, you already know that I am big time back into collecting records. You could not have predicted this. I could not have predicted this, but this is where we are, and it's too late to do anything about it. A lot of you have been asking, how do I start collecting vinyl? Some of you have also been asking, how do I stop collecting vinyl? Well, I don't have an answer for that one. There could be a 12-step program for all I know. Patches, chewing gum, hypnosis, cold turkey, whatever works. If you don't have any records at all and you're looking for vintage vinyl, you should find and support a local brick and mortar record store. If you're in the Baltimore area, you'll want to support Tracks on Wax, owned by my friend Gary Gebler. They have a huge selection. They're very good at what they do. They'll take great care of you. If you're not in the Baltimore area, don't worry. There are flights into BWI Thurgood Marshall every day, so you have no excuse. Once you've got the records, you're going to need a rig to play them on. A record player, a turntable. I know this sounds intimidating, but it's not. If you bought a stove, you can do this. If you can't figure out how to work the stove, I got nothing for you. Yours truly was already ahead of the game because I still have the turntable I bought back in 1980 when I was 5 years old. It's a beauty. A JVC Direct Drive QLY5F. It was considered a classic in its day. It's still considered a classic. It still works perfectly. It's in great shape, which is more than you can say about me. Sorry for the interruption. I had to step out very quickly to have an ultrasound done of my kidneys. I suffer from kidney stones, which I just found out that if you are really obese, it will impact the quality of the ultrasound. I'm not obese. Mine came out perfectly. In fact, this is what it looked like. And that gives you some idea of what's going on in there. Okay, I'm back. If you are seriously interested in owning this turntable, it shows up from time to time on eBay, but expect to pay between $600 and $1,000 for one in good condition. Frankly, $600 and $1,000 for a 40-year-old turntable is not worth it. There are some very reasonably priced, brand new alternatives on the market. Are they going to last 40 years? I don't know. I wasn't supposed to last 40 years, and look what happened. You can also spend a fortune on a brand new turntable, like $100,000. Oh, is the great Michael Fremer going to show us his $100,000 turntable with a $9,000 cartridge? Look, Michael Fremer is a great guy. He's a fellow screenwriter. He wrote the movie Animal Olympics. He worked on the great Disney movie Tron, the 1982 version, not the hideous remake. He's an audio fanatic. He wrote for years for Stereophile magazine. He has his own website, Analog Planet, which you should check out sometime. He has a record collection that's worth millions. If you ever melted it down, there would never be another petroleum shortage. If Michael Fremer wants to have a $100,000 turntable, let me get out of his way. He met Paul McCartney. I didn't. I'm not worthy. After the turntable, you're going to need a phono cartridge. This includes the stylus, the needle. This is the part that actually touches the record. The stylus gets down into the groove of the record, and that's where the magic happens. If you're lucky. They have to work together. They may not even like each other. Who knows? It's not my business. I'm currently using a cartridge from Ortofon called the Concord. And you can clearly see what... Wait, that's my Aunt Minnie. Sorry. The Concorde. You can clearly see why they called it that, because it's supposed to look like the British aircraft and nothing at all like my Aunt Minnie, so I'm not sure who I should be apologizing to. This is a combination head shell and cartridge, so it's plug and play. Simple. Club DJs love it because it will play virtually anything. Now, this is not a cheap Chinese cartridge manufactured by 9-year-old Chinese communists. This was actually designed and manufactured in, of all places, Denmark. So good on the Danish. It costs about $100, and it's probably all the cartridge you'll ever need. Except if it isn't. I'm now starting to fall into that rabbit hole known as endless audio tweaks, because all cartridges sound different. They do. That's what makes this hobby so much fun, and that's why it's the perfect hobby for complete psychotics. And that's why I also have a cartridge manufactured by Grado Labs. Joe Grado, God give him heaven, was born and raised in Brooklyn, which is nobody's fault really, but he and his wife hand-built a series of fantastic cartridges at their kitchen table. They did this for over 50 years. They never had any children. Why? Because they were busy hand-building fantastic cartridges. That's why. John Grado, who is Joe Grado's nephew, now runs the company, and I'm happy to say he's a chip off the old block. This particular Grado cartridge, the Prestige, is still hand-built in Brooklyn, and it costs about $75. Does it sound better than the Autophon? Yes, it does. So there. It's made in America, it's cheaper than the European cartridge, and it's the better product. Don't you love it when America wins? I love it when America wins. So at the end of the day, it's all about the music and not the machinery. So let's play a record, why don't we? I'm going to put on the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations. If anybody ever asks you what is the greatest single ever released in popular music, this is the correct answer. It was released in 1967, recorded and mixed in mono. Why? Because Brian Wilson was deaf in one ear, so you're hearing it exactly the way he heard it. This version is on orange sunburst vinyl. It's supposed to look like the California sun, except that you can't see the sun in California anymore. No go, right? Brian called it his pocket symphony. You can call it whatever you want. I call it a masterpiece, because for 3 minutes and 36 seconds, everything is right with the world. Everything. That's it. Hey, if you're a fellow vinyl junkie, show us your rig. Don't be shy. Remember, it's the music, not the machinery. In future podcasts, I may talk about some of my favorite records in my collection, but it's all going to depend on whether or not you guys behave yourselves. So in the meanwhile, goodbye from Vinyl Vision. Now go listen to some records.